I had this pain right here in my stomach, and my husband was like, hey, do you want to go to the hospital? And I was like, no, I don't. I'll go away. I'll go away. Until that pain went from my stomach to my head.
Mm-hmm.
After I got to the hospital, I just don't remember anything. But from what everyone's telling me, they're like, we just put you in God's hands because it was scary.
Welcome to Open Seat, the podcast where we create a space for authentic conversations about faith, unfiltered and unapologetic. Here, we believe that every story matters. Whether you're questioning, seeking, or steadfast in your beliefs, you'll find something relatable in these heartfelt discussions. So grab your seat, get comfortable, and let's dive into today's story here at Open Seat. So today on Open Seat, we have Veronica Sanchez with us today.
Thank you, Katie, for the invitation.
Thank you for saying yes, Veronica. So let's just jump right in.
Okay.
Well, let's start about early years.
So I was brought over from Mexico when I was 3 years old. We went to move to Florida, spent there 2 years, and then when I was 5, we moved to Michigan, and I've been living here ever since.
So you poor thing, you went from Mexico, which was warm, to Florida, which was warm.
To the coldness. Yes. Yes.
Your parents did not pick well. So how was it coming from Mexico to the U.S.? Do you remember those memories?
I do not remember anything. Okay. When my mom told me that I was not from here, I was confused. I was like, wait, what? I've lived here my whole life. What's going on? And she's like, no, you don't have these documents. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so like when I was 12, we got a letter from the immigration saying, hey, you've been approved for your green card. And we went to go get the stuff that we needed to get. And from 12 up to 22, that's when I became a citizen.
Yeah, so
Yes.
You gave me the best birthday present I could get, which was your citizenship on my birthday.
Yes.
And it was one of the most incredible experiences was being in that room with all those people getting their citizenship at the same time.
Yes.
What a blessing. So I thank you for that because I that was really a great birthday present. So how did you start to get involved in the church?
So my parents weren't really church people.
Uh-huh.
And one day they asked him, hey, do you want to be part of Sociedad Guadalupana? And they're like, sounds fun. Okay, let's do it. And then ever since then, they've been involved. And as they're involved, I've been involved.
Yeah. So you were a catechist for a very long time, which I'm so grateful for. And now you're moved into the family movement program, right? You're in charge
Yes,
of
we're
that?
coordinators, Adrian and I.
Yeah. So what does that look like?
It's pretty cool. I'm not going to lie, it's pretty cool.
That's great.
I've been working on my Spanish.
Oh,
Because it's all in Spanish,
okay.
and I have a little bit hard times saying things I speak mostly in Spanglish.
uh-huh.
So if I can't find the word in Spanish, I'll just say it in English. But no, I have to say everything in Spanish. So it's been helping me.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
So when you decided that you were going to be a catechist, what made you decide to do that? Because you did that really early.
They were just like, hey, they're looking for catechists. And I don't know, something in me just said, I want to do it. So I think it was a year before John. And I was in second grade. And then after John came in, I was second and third. And I was involved in First Communion, too.
And you've also served on parish council.
Yes, I did.
So I hate to out you, but can you just tell us your age so we have an idea of how all you've done for the church?
28.
That's pretty impressive. That is very impressive, actually.
At school, at my job, I always get confused as a student. If I was not wearing that badge, they would not know that I was an employee.
So where do you work? What do you do?
I work at Onset High School, and I work as a bilingual parapro.
So that's probably improving your Spanish a little bit
Yes.
too, right?
Yes.
And how long have you been doing that?
This is my third year.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you just got married.
Yes.
And your lovely family consists of your husband and your daughter.
Yes, and our 3 dogs.
Oh, yes, 3 dogs. Yes, that is just chaos, I would think. But good luck to you on that one. So let's talk a little bit about Adelina, because she's the light of your life, right?
She is.
Yeah. So how old is she now?
She is 5.
Oh, my goodness. That's absolutely crazy, because I remember when she was born. Now I sound really old in saying that. But let's talk a little bit about her birth.
So her birth wasn't planned the way I wanted it to happen. So back in 2019, I had a stroke. And it happened because my doctor did not tell me that I had preeclampsia. And after I had this pain right here in my stomach, and my husband was like, hey, do you want to go to the hospital? And I was like, no, I don't. I'll go away. Until that pain went from my stomach to my head. Mm-hmm. We got to the hospital, and after I got to the hospital, I just don't remember anything. But from what everyone's telling me, they're like, we just put you in God's hands, because it was scary.
Yeah, because you had Adelina and a stroke pretty much the same time.
Yes. I had the stroke first, and then they were trying to contain the stroke. And then as soon as I got to U of M, it did an emergency C-section.
So how long were you in U of M after the stroke? Like, how long were you in the hospital?
A month and a half.
And after that month and a half, you still had to learn how to redo everything.
Yeah, I could not use my right side. And I needed to learn how to talk again, how to walk, how to read, everything.
Well, how did you get through all that? Because it must be frustrating.
Yes, I was so frustrated. I just prayed.
You would have to, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't really communicate with anybody verbally. And so that's what you have, right?
Yeah.
So how did it go with you recovering from a stroke and a baby?
Yeah, so I am so thankful for my family because they were always there for me. My mom actually took Adelina home after 2 weeks that she was born.
Oh, so she was in the NICU for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. Because she was a preemie.
Yes, she was. She was born on July 13th. On the 14th, they took everything off. She didn't need a feeding tube. She didn't need any oxygen, nothing.
And how early was she?
She was like a month and a half old. Like early.
Oh, a month and a half early.
Yeah.
So quite a bit.
And she weighed like 3 pounds.
Yeah. To see her running around at church these days, you would not know she was a preemie either.
No.
She's very smart. And
she's very intelligent.
No developmental anything. So she's such a blessed little girl.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did it go with your mom helping raise Adelina?
Yeah, so for the first month and a half, she just kept her. And while I was trying to recover in the hospital, and she would bring her every day to see me so that I can see her. And then she would take her back. And then when they finally released me, my mom was like, do you want us to keep her still a little bit longer while you get used to being around here at the house? Because we moved in with my parents. And I was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. And so my mom let her sleep with her for the first few months. And then when it started to get colder, because my mom's house does get cold upstairs, she came downstairs with us. And that's when I started to take care of her more. I'm not saying that I made a full recovery, but it's like a 90% recovered.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It is absolutely a miracle in front of our eyes what has happened with your life in that period of time. And that was 2019?
Yes.
Yeah, so in 5 years, you have made a huge change in everything. So are there any lingering effects from the stroke? Anything you have to be careful of? Or
They just told me to limit things. Like, I really can't run, but when
it's fine.
When I work out, I just like to walk on the walker.
Oh, yeah.
Or on the bike, but I can't over push.
So after you had the stroke and you have this new baby and Adrian and you move into your parents' house, what were you thinking? Like, what was happening in your life?
So my mom and Adrian, basically everybody was like, I think she might be depressed.
And were you? So what did you do?
My mom knows a psychologist, and she's like, I think that you need to go see her. And I was like, nope, no, I don't want to. Until I was like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we say that there's no shame in getting help and having mental health struggles, right? You just came off this life-altering event. And so it's got to be incredibly difficult to not be able to function like you want to and have this new baby. And
yeah, that's what she told me. She's like, you're 23 years old. You just had a baby. That's not something that every 23-year-old goes through.
And again, here we are 5 years later, and all of this is like, nobody would believe it.
Yeah.
You have just made so many recoveries in that 5 years.
Yeah.
It's nothing short of a miracle.
No.
Really.
No.
To see you smiling again, to see you just carrying on with Adelina.
Oh, yeah.
It is just such a blessing to be able to witness that miracle, because it truly was. How long were you suffering with depression? How long did it take to...
Up until about the beginning of COVID.
Oh.
Because then that's when she had to shut down everything. And she told me, she's like, if you ever need anything, you are only a phone call away.
You mean the counselor?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you could do it by counsel or by phone.
Yeah.
Okay. And then also during this period of time, your grandma has cancer.
Yeah.
So how long ago did your grandma get diagnosed with cancer?
2 years ago.
She also lives with your parents.
Yes.
So your parents have in the house themselves, mom and dad, your sister?
My sister, my brother, and then us three. And I think it was about 9 people in the house.
And your grandparents, right?
Yes. Yeah. It was my grandparents.
I mean, it's a pretty big house. But how is it? I don't know that I've ever lived with more than just like my immediate family. So how is it when you live with so many different generations all in one household?
Well, before I moved out with Adrian for the very first time, we've all lived together. Adrian, his family is very small, so he hasn't ever lived with so many people at the same time. It was an adjustment for him, but for me, it was like being back at home, but when I was single.
Yeah, because there's 4 generations, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a lot of benefits for Adelina.
Oh, yeah. We moved. And right next door, by the way. Right next door. Yeah. And she still goes, Mommy, I want to go home. And I was like, but you are home. She's like, no, not this home, our other home. And right now she's with my mom and with Lupe. And she just can't really get over the fact that she does not live there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an adjustment, right? First 5 years, that's where she lived. So, and I can't imagine she probably didn't get spoiled too much when she could just be, well, this one said no, but I got 8 more people to go to.
Yeah. Yeah. This year I am asking all of her family member, please do not give her any toys because, oh my gosh. We are getting rid of so many toys that she has around the house. It's crazy.
I can imagine. She's the first grandchild.
Yeah.
She's
first niece.
First great grandchild in some cases. First niece, yes. So she's not at all spoiled.
No, not at all.
All right. So, and in the 5-year period where all this crazy stuff was happening that you were battling, you also had a pretty severe car accident.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so this past winter, we were driving home from school, and I don't know how and when, but we got hit. And everyone who was there to witness our accident was like, you had a guardian angel with you guys, because the ditch was really bad. And I don't know, we spun 3 times, and then we landed. And then that time that I got hit, I was just thinking, dear Lord, please cover my daughter.
Yeah, because she was with you.
Yes. Yes, at the time she was going to Onstead. And we had a half day, and we were just coming home from school. And she was on her tablet, and she just screaming the whole time.
But luckily, everybody's okay.
Yes.
Minor scrapes and bruises.
For her, yes. And then I had a laceration on my kidney. So I was in bed for 3 days.
And did you start to think like you were going back to those days when you were
Yes.
recovering from the stroke?
Yes.
Yeah. So how did you break yourself of thinking those things?
I was praying hardcore,
Yeah.
praying. And I guess it really was a guardian angel because I don't even know how I got out of the car. I pulled Addie out of the car, and then a fireman was coming home from work. And he's like, "Are you guys okay?" I already called 911, and I was like, "Yes, but my daughter. And she just had a few bruises on her lung area, and then where her seatbelt was. And I honestly don't know. I pulled Addie out of the car. I grabbed my phone and I called Adrian. I was like, "Hey, we got into a car accident. We're here. I need you to get over here as quick as you can." I started feeling a bunch of pain on my right side too. It was my right side.
Which is where the stroke affected.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that I had broken a rib, but it was just really bruised. But I did, like I said, I had a laceration on my kidney. And they took me to the hospital since Friday, and then they let me go on Sunday. They did not let me get up, nothing. They just wanted to make sure that laceration did not become bigger.
So through all of this, I'm imagining you're probably praying to Our Lady of Guadalupe,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So can you tell the listeners a little bit about Our Lady of Guadalupe? Because I don't know how many know the history and why people are so devoted to her.
Before I was even born, my mom almost had a abortion with me. They did not do anything in Florida. And my mom left to Mexico.
Okay.
And she would just prayed really hard. And my mom had me over there, and we lived in Mexico City. And so she would take me as many chances she had to visit her, the Basilica. And I don't know what it is about being there. You just feel this peace.
It's on my bucket list to get there. Really, I've heard that numerous times. And
Yes.
people also crawl on their knees.
Yes. And so my mom also made a promise to her to get our green card. And she said, if you let my daughter and I get a green card, we will crawl to you from the entrance all the way up to where you are. And yeah, that's what we did.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And I'm certain Our Lady was with you while you were going through your stroke and your depression and your accident, because your family is such devotion to her.
Yes.
So Our Lady of Guadalupe is Mary, right?
Yes.
The Mary who appeared to Juan Diego in Mexico.
Yes.
So her feast day is December 12th. So how do you celebrate that as a family?
We really don't do much at home because we do it all here at church.
Okay.
But I don't know in the American culture if you guys do this or not, but what we do is me and Lupita, by the way, my name is Guadalupe too. And my mom buys us a little cake because it's our Santo Day.
It's your saint day for Guadalupe.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what we do. We usually do the cake the day after because my parents do a dinner here for the whole church, and it just takes up the whole day. So we really don't get a chance to celebrate, but we come to church, and then depending on what time the church is over, we either stay for dinner or we don't, because last year we didn't because Addie had to be at school.
Leading up to Our Lady of Guadalupe,
We do
there's
our-
a novena.
Yes.
Yeah. So
9
what
days.
do you do for the novena?
So we pray the rosary and we do songs.
And you do those in your home or as a church?
We have one here at the church, but if you can't make it, you can always pray at home.
Yeah, and it's beautiful.
Yes.
I've been a few times.
Yes.
It is absolutely beautiful. And then the night before Guadalupe.
Oh, mañanitas.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what is this?
So they've changed it over the years, but basically they pray the last rosary, and then people give their testimonies. They sing to her. They recite poems, a lot of things.
So it's kind of an evening.
Yes.
Because it's late.
Yes, it's
very
like
late.
at
It's like 10, I think.
10,
it starts.
yes.
Yeah. It's an evening to just show your devotion to Guadalupe.
Yes.
And lots of people give their testimonies about how they've overcome things through the intercession of Guadalupe.
Yes.
My Spanish is not so great, to be honest with you. your dad, I think, believes in me a lot more than I believe in myself on that one. But I've heard your story shared, parts of it that I couldn't understand, on Mañanitas a few times from your parents.
Yes.
Yeah, because they are not only proud of you, but also devoted to what Our Lady has done.
Yes. My mom told me if it was okay, and I was like, yeah.
I think we had you share it with the confirmation kids last year.
I did.
And they were really taken back by the fact that this kind of stuff happens, right? We hear about it in reading the books of the saints and stuff like this, but to actually sit and talk to someone who came through a miracle is not really something a lot of people get to do. So they were able to hear the story from your perspective and Adrian, your husband's perspective. And it is powerful. And Adrian has shared part of it in church for the stewardship talks.
Yes.
And people were talking about how wonderful it was then, too. Because
and I also thank her so much for what she did for him.
Yes. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so basically when I met Adrian, he was a very heavy weed smoker. And I just prayed to Mary, to God, to Jesus, to please take that away.
Mm-hmm. Because you kind of had this little Romeo and Juliet thing going on, right? Like the good church volunteer versus the bad boy.
Yeah. Right? So my parents didn't really like him at the beginning. But once they get to know him, he's not a bad guy.
No, he's not.
But yeah, that was hard for him because he just one day he woke up and he's like, I think I need to go confess myself. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. Mm-hmm. And then we went on adoration, mm-hmm. and he just came out of there crying. And I'm like, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I feel so much better. Mm-hmm. And then he just, I don't know if it really was. God is a miracle, let me tell you. Mm-hmm. He quit smoking, mm-hmm. like that. I don't know where he just decided, I don't want to do this anymore.
I also think it's a testament to your prayers.
Yes.
Because you could have easily just been like, oh, this is not my problem and whatever. But I would imagine, I've not seen it, but I would imagine in your house, you and him prayed together quite a bit.
Night. Yes, at nighttime.
Yeah, because you'd have to get through all that you have been through. Mm-hmm. Right? He also, did he come into the church?
Yes, he did his first communion and his confirmation.
Not too long. COVID?
Yes, COVID time.
So, I mean, there's a lot that's happened in 5 years.
Yeah. Yes.
I actually might need to go to therapy for you after hearing all of it. I knew some of it, but not all of it. And that's a lot.
Yeah.
So really only by prayers are you able to be standing.
That's all I did those 5 years, whether it was my stroke, the Adrian situation, mm-hmm. or the car crash. I just prayed.
So do you have a favorite type of prayer?
No, I like them all.
You're just like, whatever I can do to give me God. Give me God today.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had like devotion to the rosary or...
We do a rosary, but not every night because, school, work. Or we do a psalm from the Bible. And then we just do Hail Marys, mm-hmm. Our Fathers, and I think that's like the short version. But yeah, no, we try to pray as a family because we're trying to get Addie to
get
more
used
involved.
to it. Yeah. It is so fun to see her bouncing around religious ed. It's like, she's like Tigger. She's just hopping. It's so cute. So is there anything else you'd like to leave us with today? Any words of wisdom? Because you've been through a lot.
I mean, if you're going through anything, just pray. Because let me tell you, prayer works. Whether it be short or long, it works.
Once again, we thank you for joining us today. We hope that wherever you find an open seat in your life, you will invite someone to join you. My favorite part is when she tells me that I get to clap.
All right, when you're ready, you can clap.
See? Just says, when you're ready, clap. All right.